Well, dear students, in our previous class, we have understood what is projectile motion and also derived the expression for what is the range of the projectile, what is time of flight, and also maximum height reached by the projectile. So we come to know that an object which is given initial velocity in any direction and allowed it to travel freely under the action of gravity is called as projectile. And see here, the trajectory of a projectile is found to be a parabola. The path traced by a projectile is always a parabola. The time taken by the projectile to reach the ground is called time of flight. It is given by 2u sin theta divided by g that we have derived. And also the maximum height reached by the projectile is given by h is equal to u square sin square theta divided by 2g. The maximum horizontal distance covered by a projectile is given by range r is equal to u square sin 2 theta divided by g. See, these are the equations we have derived. So now let us work out few problems related to projectile motion. Okay. A ball projected vertically with a velocity 10 meter per second, making an angle 30 degree with respect to the horizontal with respect to the ground, calculate time of flight B range and C maximum height reached by the ball. See here, take g is equal to 10 meter per second square. See here, they have projected the ball such that the ball makes an angle 30 degree with respect to the ground is taken as horizontal, and the velocity given is 10 meter per second. You have to calculate what is time of flight. Let us consider one. Time of flight of the ball Tf is equal to 2u sin theta divided by g. See here, u is initial velocity 10 meter per second, theta 30 degree, which implies sin theta is equal to 1 by 2, sin 30 is 1 by 2, and g is 10 meter per second square. So therefore time of flight becomes 2 into 10 sin 30 degree divided by 10. 10 got cancelled. This is 1 by 2, 1 by 2 into 2, 2 into 1 by 2. See, it gives you 1 second. See, therefore time taken by it to reach the ground is just 1 second. Range is given by range r is equal to u square sine 2 theta divided by g. R is equal to u is 10 square sine 2 into 30 degree divided by 10. Say this is 10 into sine 60. What is sine 60? Sine 60 is 0.8660 root 3 by 2. Sine 60 is sine 60 root 3 by 2. On simplification you will get 0.8660. Therefore this gives you 8.66 meter. Range of the ball is given by 8.66 meter. Now let us calculate what is the maximum height reached by the ball. See, h is equal to u square sine square theta divided by 2g. H is equal to u square is 10 square sine square 30 divided by 2 into 10. Say 110 got cancelled. What remains? 10 by 2 is 5 and sine 30 is 1 by 2, sine square is 1 by 4. See, therefore you are going to get 1.25 meter. So therefore maximum height reached by the ball is just 1.25 meter. Have you got it? An athlete throws a javelin with a speed of 5 meter per second, making an angle 60 degree with respect to the ground. Calculate a time of flight B maximum height and C range of the javelin. Okay, see here javelin is thrown. First we shall find out what is time of flight. Time of flight is given by 2u sine theta divided by g. See here u is equal to 5 meter per second, and here also take take g is equal to 10 meter per second square. U is 5 meter per second and g is 10 meter per second square. Theta is 60 degree, such that what is sine 60, see, which implies sine 60 is equal to 0.8660. Now let us calculate time of flight. Time of flight is given by 2 into 5 into sine 60 divided by 10. So you are going to get 0.866 second. This is time of flight. B, maximum height, h is equal to u square sine square theta divided by 2g. H is equal to 5 square sine square 60 divided by 2 into 10, 25.8660 whole square, or you can write root 3 by 2 whole square. This is nothing but root 3 by 2 whole square. It is easy to simplify. Root 3 by 2 whole square divided by 20. So this you are going to get 25 into 3 divided by 4 into 20, right? Please simplify this. On simplifying, you are going to get, this is 15 divided by 16. By 16. This is on simplification. You are going to get point next range. See, you please check it up. Check this calculation. Okay. R is equal to u square sine 2 theta divided by g. R is equal to u square is 5 square sine 2 into 6 divided by 10, 25. This is sine 120. Sine 120 is nothing but sine 60. Sine 120 divided by 10. So you know that sine 120 can be written as sine of 180 minus 60. Sine of 180 minus theta is in second quadrant. Sine is positive, therefore this gives you sine 60. What is the value of sine 60? 0.8660. So therefore, when you simplify this, 5 by 2, 0.8660. Or 5 into 0.433. This is the horizontal range of the javelin. It covers a distance of 2.165 meter by the time when it hits the ground. Okay. a shot put is projected by an athlete such that its horizontal range is maximum and it is equal to 10 meter, and it is equal to 10 meter. Calculate the initial velocity and vertical height and maximum vertical height covered by the shot put. Also find time taken by it to reach the ground. Okay. See, in this case they have given range is maximum. For range is maximum, we have discussed in the previous class, the angle of projection should be 45 degree. For maximum range, theta must be equal to 45 degree. See, that is first thing. And here also you please take g is equal to 10 meter per second square. Okay, g is equal to 10 meter per second square. First let us take range. R is equal to u square sine 2 theta divided by g. See here R is given as how much? 10 meter. R is equal to 10 meter. Sine 2 theta equals sine 90, which is equal to 1. See, therefore 10 is equal to u square into 1 divided by 10. This implies u is also equal to 10 meter per second. U is known. Now calculate maximum height. H is equal to u square sine square theta divided by 2g. H is equal to u square, u is 10 square, sine square 45 divided by 2 into 10. 10 got cancelled and you are left with 5. Sine square 45 is 1 by root 2 whole square. 1 by root 2 whole square. This you are going to get 2.5 meter. Okay, just 1/4 of the horizontal range. Then time of flight, TF is equal to 2u sine theta divided by g. You are going to get time of flight is equal to 2 into 10 sine 45 divided by 10. 2 into 10 got cancelled. Sine 45 0.7071. when you make simplification 1 by root 2, 1 by root 2 gives you that much. Say second, say this is approximately 1.4 second. Time of light is given by 1. Time taken by the shot put to reach the ground is 1.4 second after it has been projected. Okay. Let us take another interesting problem related to this projectile motion. The range of the projectile is found to be range of the projectile is found to be 4 root 3 times maximum height reached by the projectile, then find angle of projection. See here they have given r is equal to 4 root 3 times h. Okay, r is given by u square sine 2 theta divided by g. This is r. This is equal to 4 root 3. What is h? U square sine square theta divided by 2g. Okay. Now you just cancel out u square g on either side. You are going to get what is sine 2 theta. So you know that sine 2 theta is 2 sine theta into cos theta. Sine 2 theta is given by 2 sine theta into cos theta is equal to 4 root 3. Here only 2 is there, 2 times it goes 2 root 3 sine square theta, sine square. Say here again 2 got cancelled, 1 sine theta got cancelled. What remains? Cos theta is equal to root 3 into sine theta. R. See, you just take to this side. Tan theta is equal to 1 by root 3. This implies theta is equal to 30 degree. Hence angle of projection is 30 degree. When angle of projection is 30 degree, range becomes equal to 4 root 3 times h. Okay, this is also one of the standard result. You please remember this. See, now let us consider the next topic, uniform circular motion. Uniform circular motion. So when a particle moves along a circular path, with a constant speed, then it is said to have uniform circular motion. When a particle or a body moves along a circular path with a constant speed, then we say that it is having uniform circular motion. See here, a particle of mass m is moving and the velocity of the particle is always tangential to the circular path. So when the particle comes here, the velocity will be like this. The particle comes here, velocity will be tangential to the circular path. Since the velocity of the particle is changing continuously, it is said to have acceleration. Therefore, here velocity is variable. Though magnitude is same, but direction is continuously changing. See, therefore, the particle moving along a circular path is said to have constant acceleration. So, in this case, since the speed is constant, magnitude of velocity is constant, so therefore the acceleration associated with the particle is also constant. So therefore we say that the particle is having uniform acceleration or a constant acceleration. Okay, and this acceleration is always directed towards the center of the circle. It is always directed towards the center of the circle. You will have only radial acceleration, and we call this radial acceleration as centripetal acceleration. Velocity and acceleration are mutually perpendicular to each other, right? They are mutually perpendicular to each other, and acceleration is always directed towards the center, and it is called centripetal acceleration. Now our task is to obtain the expression for centripetal acceleration. Have you got my point? See, there are two common examples for uniform acceleration. One is a body falling freely under gravity. G is constant. G is equal to 9.8 meter per second square. And the other example is a particle or a body moving along circular path with a constant speed. It is also having constant acceleration, and this acceleration is directed towards the center, and it is called centripetal acceleration. Have you got it? See, now let me derive the expression for centripetal acceleration. See, let me consider a particle moving along the circular path. I just take a part of the circular path. See, this is the center, and initially the particle is at point P. This is the point where radius r, and it is represented by radial vector r. Okay, and here the velocity is tangential to it, v. In a small interval of time delta t, the particle moves somewhere here. Okay, here P dash, right? So I indicate this by position vector r dash, r dash, r prime, and the angle swept by the radius vector is taken as delta theta. I just take this as delta theta. Delta theta is the angle swept by the radius vector, and this represents displacement delta r. So therefore we have considered a particle of mass m, say moving along the circular path. Initially the particle was at P, and the velocity is tangential to it, and in a time delta t the particle moved to P dash, and now the velocity is v dash. Delta r is the displacement. Okay, so now I just using these vectors I construct another a triangle. I just construct a triangle. This is V, and parallel to this V dash, this is V dash, and I just take this as delta V. Okay, I indicate this by GH EGH. Okay, I indicate this triangle by EGH. Now you just compare similar triangles. From Thales theorem, you know that if two triangles, consider triangle CPP dash and GEGH, FGH, I just take it as FGH. From similar triangles, CPP dash and FGH. But I can even write like this. Parallel to this. GFGH. V dash delta V. From similar triangles, I can write GH divided by FH is equal to CP divided by PP dash, all right. Let's see what is GH. So GH here is V and FH is delta V. PP dash is delta R. CP is R. See, now it is always constant. So you please put the corresponding values. GH is V, FH is delta V is equal to CP. CP is taken as R divided by delta R. Okay. Now you just make a rearrangement. V by R, or you can take this as delta V. Let me call this as equation 1, or even you can rearrange this later so that you can easily find out what is its value. Or delta V by V is equal to delta R by R. Now you just divide both sides by delta T, dividing both sides by delta T, delta V by delta T, and you take V to the side, V into V by R, delta R by delta T. Taking limit delta t tending to 0. See, this is called limiting value, delta t tending to 0 on both sides. Limit delta t tending to 0, delta v by delta t is equal to v by r, limit delta t tending to 0, delta r by delta t. And in our previous discussion, motion along a straight line, you come to know that this gives you acceleration, right? And this gives you velocity. But limit delta t tending to 0, delta v by delta t is equal to a, instantaneous acceleration, and limit delta t tending to 0, delta r by delta t gives you v, instantaneous velocity. See, therefore that equation becomes a is equal to v by r into v, or a is equal to v square by r. And this acceleration is always directed towards the center, and hence it is called centripetal acceleration. The term petal refers to centripetal, means center seeking acceleration. It is always directed towards the center of the circular path, and for that reason it is called centripetal acceleration. Okay, see, this is one way of obtaining this expression. See, the other way is that, see, when a particle moving along the circular path, we have seen that the radius vector sweeps through an angle delta theta in a time delta t. Okay, and therefore using angular velocity we can determine what is the expression for centripetal acceleration. Angular velocity is given by time rate of change of displacement. Since it sweeps through an angle delta theta, see, we can write omega is equal to delta theta by delta t. Okay. See, therefore in terms of angular velocity, omega is equal to limit delta t tending to 0, delta theta by delta t. See, we can write as v is equal to r omega. We can write a is equal to r square omega square divided by r. See, r got cancelled, therefore a is equal to omega square r. So this is another expression for centripetal acceleration. You can represent either in terms of angular velocity or in terms of linear velocity. As the particle moves along the circular path, angle swept by the radius vector changes with respect to time. See, therefore we say that it has angular velocity. Angular velocity is changing with respect to time. See, therefore using angular velocity also we can calculate what is the acceleration associated with it. Remember, acceleration and velocity are mutually perpendicular to each other. The angle between velocity and acceleration, or acceleration and displacement of the particle, they are 90 degree. In all these cases it is 90 degrees, perpendicular to each other. There is only radial component of acceleration, right? See, now we shall work out one or two problems related to this centripetal acceleration. a stone tied to the end of a string 80 centimeter long is whirled in a horizontal circle, whirled in a horizontal circle, with a constant speed, if the stone makes 14 revolutions in 25 seconds. 14 revolutions in 25 seconds. What is the magnitude and direction of and direction of acceleration of the stone, See here, the stone is making, it is whirled like this. Okay. See, there is a string attached to the stone, and the stone is making circular motion, horizontal circle. This is called whirling, right? It is whirling, right? This is the stone. They have given, it is, suppose if it makes one complete rotation starting from here, one complete rotation, what is the angle swept by this? 2 pi or 360 degree. For one revolution, the total angle swept is 2 pi radian. Okay. For 14 revolution, you have to calculate. See, therefore, so we know that omega is equal to angle divided by time taken. Angle swept is, for one rotation, 2 pi. For 14 rotation, 14 into 2 pi. How much time taken? Time taken is 25 seconds. Okay. So therefore, you are going to get 28 pi divided by 25. So this is omega, radian per second. And string of length, whatever the string, so the string is here, center. So you are holding the string at the center. Then what is the length? Length is 80 centimeter. So therefore, radius here is equal to 80 centimeter or 0.8 meter. Now, therefore, centripetal acceleration AC is equal to omega square R. Omega square is this much, 28 pi is given by 3.142 divided by 25 whole square into 0.8. Okay, you please simplify this. On simplification, you are going to get nearly 9.89 meter per second square. You please check up this value. And this acceleration, what is the direction? It is directed towards the center. this acceleration is directed towards the center of the circular path. See, this gives you the direction. It is radially inwards. Okay. Now let us take another problem. The moon's nearly the orbit of moon around earth is nearly circular having radius of about 3.85 into 10 raised to 8 meter and a period of 27.3 days. See, time taken by moon to make one revolution around earth is 27.3 days. Determine acceleration of moon. Determine acceleration of moon towards the earth. Okay. See, first we have to calculate what is the velocity. So you know that velocity is given by, or speed is given by 2 pi r circumference divided by time taken. Time taken is period. 2 pi into 2 into 3.14. What is the radius? Radius is this much, 3.85 into 10 raised to 8 divided by 27.3 days. One day can be converted into seconds. One day is equal to 86,400 seconds, or it is 24 into 3,600. Total number of hours in a day is 24. 1 hour is equal to 3,600, or you can take 86,400 seconds totally. See, on simplification, so you are going to get 1.02 into 10 raised to 3 meter per second. You please check up this calculation. Then acceleration, centripetal acceleration is given by v square by r. V square is 1.02 into 10 raised to 3 whole square divided by r is 3.85 into 10 raised to 8. Okay. On simplification, you are going to get 2.7 into 10 raised to minus 3 meter per second square. See, this is the acceleration of the moon towards the center of the earth. A cyclist is riding with a speed with a speed riding with a speed of 27 kilometer per hour, 27 kilometer per hour. As he approaches a circular turn on the road of radius 80 meter, on the road of radius 80 meter, he applies the brake, and reduces the speed, at a constant rate of 0.5 meter per second square, 0.5 meter per second square. What is the magnitude and direction of net acceleration of cyclist on the circular turn, See, this is an interesting problem because they have given tangential acceleration also. See here, cyclist is moving, he is taking a turn, and there are two components of acceleration. One is radial component, it is centripetal acceleration, and we have retardation, tangential component acting in this direction. Therefore, see, this is the net acceleration. So you have to find out what is net acceleration. Angle between them is 90 degree. See, therefore A is equal to net acceleration. A is equal to square root of A square R plus A square T. See here, AR is nothing but centripetal acceleration. Okay. See, this is equal to V square by R. See, what is the speed? Speed is given. Speed is V is equal to 27 kilometer per hour, 3600 meter per second. When you convert into meter per second, on simplifying this, you are going to get 7.5 meter per second. See, therefore 7.5 whole square, and what is the radius? 80 meter divided by 80. See, when you simplify this, you are going to get 0.7 meter per second square. See, this is radial acceleration, and AD is given tangential acceleration 0.5 meter per second square. See, therefore A is equal to root of 0.7 square plus 0.5 square. You please simplify this. On simplifying, you are going to get 0.86 meter per second square. See, this is the net acceleration produced, and angle is theta is equal to tan inverse of A centripetal acceleration divided by tangential acceleration. See, this is tan inverse of centripetal acceleration is 0.7 by 0.5. See, this is tan inverse of 1.4 1.4. This comes out to be 54.5 degree. See, therefore the direction of the resultant is 54.5 degree. If you take this as theta, see here the angle between them is 90. This is theta, this angle. See, the opposite side is AD, adjacent side is AR. Tan theta, opposite side AD. No, they have not taken this as theta. They have taken this as theta. Opposite side by adjacent side. This is AT. This is ER. This is the center of the circular path. Okay, this is about problems related to centripetal acceleration. Okay. See, this completes discussion on motion in a plane. Okay. Please go through this lesson, revise once again. It's a very important lesson. In the entrance you used to get 2 questions, and even board examination also you will be getting 2 major questions from this chapter. You will be getting problems also. So therefore work out. When you come for the class, in a regular class, I will solve few more problems related to each of these topic. For sake of completion, I have taken up only few problems so that you can understand the concept in a much better way. Okay, let me stop at this stage. In the next class, we shall start with the new lesson, laws of motion. Okay, thank you.